Welcome to Beats and Eats. I'm here with
Jonathan Prather.
And we're getting ready to go over to Soup's On to get something to eat. Come along. He's going to his FedEx guy. What did we order?
We got the Capri sandwich. Oh, should I wait till he walks over there? Okay, cool. We got the Capri sandwich. It's focaccia with some pesto and some fresh mozzarella and some tomatoes on it. It's pretty simple, chill, good sandwich.
And obviously we got it from
Soup's On. A shop right across the street. I eat there pretty often, mainly just because it's really close, but it's also really good too. So, and a big reason I always order this sandwich is because I'm usually broke, and this is like the cheapest sandwich with the most food on it. So,
get your fill for cheaper.
$5, exactly. So.
Oh yeah, very good, very good. My first question is, who are big influences for you locally and broad spectrum?
Well, I've always like grown up listening to just like really fast punk rock, so like I always loved DRI like as a kid, and then and just like skateboarding in general, just like fast aggressive music was always like really rad. So I was really into a lot of bands, and I know like other people who are in Closet Burner are also into a lot of like West Coast like kind of like thrashy power violence bands. I guess a few big ones for me. It's a band called Life's Halt. They're really awesome. I don't know. This band's Yellow Roll Rockheads. They're like probably like one of my top 5 favorite like thrash bands ever. They're from Japan, like just shredding so fast. They're insane. But just that kind of stuff. Scholastic Death's another big one. As far as like local bands, I don't know that Bloomington has that many like thrash bands or ever really has. There's a lot of like rad bands from Indianapolis I liked kind of like when I was younger. The Dream Is Dead, those guys were always like really good as far as just like kind of like good hardcore. And Ice Nine too, although I didn't really listen to Ice Nine so much growing up. It's just like in the past like several years where I've really gotten into them, but that kind of stuff's really rad as well. So.
Which leads me to my next question. How has the scene changed since you've been here?
Well, I grew up like an hour and a half from here in a little town called Madison, Indiana, and I actually, when I was younger, I would go to a lot of shows in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'd go to a lot of shows here in Bloomington. And the shows I would go to in Louisville were a lot more like harder, faster, like punk hardcore shows. And here, there were like some like harder bands, I guess, that I would see. I don't even really like remember most of their names, but usually it was always like folk punk stuff here. Well, I guess like back then it wasn't so much folk punk, just more like the pop punk, you know, like kind of the 15 influence, kind of like Operation Cliff Clavin and like the Sissies and all that stuff that all those kids were a part of. And then I actually moved here about 5 years ago, and the scene, like when I first moved here, Bloomington definitely kind of had the stigma of being like the folk punk capital, and I'd like see friends from other towns. They'd be like, "Oh, you're moving to Bloomington? Isn't that where like Planet X is from?" And so it's all like this like folk punk stigma. And which I don't know if it's necessarily a stigma or not. I don't want to sound like I'm putting that stuff down, because it's good, and some people love it and some people hate it. Like Natalie loves a lot of the Planet X stuff. She like plays guitar in Closet Burner. I, on the other hand, am not a huge fan of like folk punk. Like I just like really fast punk and hardcore. So, and I've definitely noticed, I mean, over the past few years, a lot more people kind of like moving away from that sort of like singer-songwritery folk punk, like kind of like indie pop punk sort of feel, and like getting like playing harder music. Pink Houses, like all those dudes were in like Defiance, Ohio, and like in other bands that play that kind of sort of music, but those guys are all like grungy and like heavy and grungy, and they're awesome, you know, like they kill it. And so like I think people are starting to kind of like look at other influences of music that they're into and be like, I don't know, I've definitely felt like Bloomington's gotten a lot like heavier as far as music goes over the past like few years. And I mean, I don't know if bands that like, you know, like members of Closet Burner has been in, I feel like some of us have been in some bands that have kind of like pushed it that way, which I'm not trying to like take credit or sound like, I'm not trying to take credit or sound cocky or anything like that, but I definitely think like there's people who have moved to town who have been like, actually, we want to play fast music, we want to play heavy music, and we can still like have the same ideals and still like be punk and still like feel the same way about things and play like aggressive music. So.
And then my next question before we get into the food eating is, let's invent a secret handshake right now.
Okay.
Let's do this. All right, that. All right. Oh, wait. Oh, but hold it.
Yeah, keep it.
All right.
So below the waist.
That was a good one. Yeah. What is Closet Burner? What's coming up for you guys?
Well, I guess for those who don't know, if it's not obvious enough, Closet Burner is like a queer, positive hardcore band. Not everyone in the band necessarily would consider themselves like gay or queer or, you know, like whatever. But it's definitely something we all feel like very strongly about. Like, I don't know, just like pushing like, not even necessarily like gay rights, but just like letting people know like, hey, there are a lot of like queer folks, and like we're part of the scene, and like we want to be a part of the scene, and we think it's bullshit when we're not a part of it. And so anyway, that's what Closet Burner is all about, you know. like we're a queer hardcore band. We are actually getting ready to release a 12-inch. It's going to be a one-sided 12-inch 45 on and I think we're doing some on pink and some on clear vinyl. I hope I'm getting this right, because Natalie's kind of in charge of like all that, but Natalie has a record label called Reality is a Cult, and she's basically putting it out. It's going to be like her first release on that label, and I know she's also planning on putting out some other like local like heavier bands here in town. Like I know that band Genital Wound, she's trying to put out a tape for them, and there's that what's that band, Marian Child, she's trying to put out a tape for them too. So I don't know, it's pretty rad that she's doing that. So she's hooking that up. We are playing a show tomorrow night actually at Rachel's Cafe with this band called The Libyans and a band called Side Effects. The Libyans is from Boston, I believe, and the Side Effects is from Minneapolis.
And if anybody wants to find out anything about what's going on with the band, where can they go website-wise, or is there a hotline they can call?
We have a Facebook. I'm assuming it's like facebook.com/Closet Burner. I could be totally wrong. I really don't know. But if you search Closet Burner on Facebook, you'll find it, I'm pretty sure. And then there's also a Bandcamp, which I also don't know the exact website on that, but I'm sure if you Google search Closet Burner and Bandcamp, it'll pop up. So, yeah, I think that's all. I don't know if we have more social media networking besides that.
Soup's on, Rhett Skateboarding, Jonathan Prather, Closet Burner, Beats and Eats. Let's pound this shit. Yeah. Let's do it. Oh, yeah.
Reveal it.